Hello, everybody. Welcome to a Facebook Live with Jeannie. I am Jeannie Nielsen, the Card Lady, and I'm very excited to be here with you today. Coming to you live at 5:12. How is that for random? I'm so sorry. I realized that my phone needed a couple more minutes to charge and the dogs needed to go out. So I decided that it's probably best if I held off 10 minutes so I could do a much better job for you. So here we are. We're going to be talking floral charm today. I wore my nice floral shirt for you, just for you. I was going to do the sunflowers today. All set, all ready, had the cards done. And then I realized that the sunflower embossing folder is sold out right now. So I decided instead we're going to pivot, and I am going to do a card class shared with me by Judy Tuttle, my friend Judy from Midland, Texas, but I changed them up a little bit to make them look a little bit more fall-like and a little bit more like my cards. And my fourth card is actually a fancy fold card that I love using. So let me flip down so I can show you the paper. I'll show you the stamp set, which I left across the room, but that's okay. We'll get it in 2 seconds. And then we're going to show you 4 cards that we're making today with the Floral Charm stamp set. Actually, with the Floral Charm bundle, I have to say, we're going to use the dots that are part of the suite, and we definitely needed the dies as well. So let me flip up to flip down. There we go. And thank you for joining me today. This is probably my favorite paper. Wouldn't it be just a beautiful, beautiful card just by itself, just with maybe even, I guess it kind of goes more like this. All you need is a little sentiment in the corner and maybe a knot of ribbon or some twine and some gems, and you've got a beautiful card by itself. But I'm going to show you them accented a little bit. So this is probably my favorite. This is number 2, and you're going to see a card made with this. I actually chose to pick out, instead of Berry Burst, I picked out Blackberry Bliss. Blackberry Bliss does not get a whole lot of love in my stamp room, and I decided today it was time. So that's one of them. Oh, I should show you the back of them too. There's a lot of random, this is just leaves on Pretty Peacock. How pretty would that be? I didn't use Pretty Peacock today, believe it or not. This is Berry Burst, like a muted tone of that. Love that. This one, probably my favorite, because I just love blue and I love the new Timid Tiger. This is just leaves, just a couple of stems, and you're going to see my fancy fold card made with that. The back side is Timid Tiger, and look at how pretty that tone-on-tone monochromatic Timid Tiger pattern is. This next one is a really pretty fall combination of, I would say, you know, it's probably more, even though I said Berry Burst, this is probably much closer to Rich Razzleberry, which we don't have anymore. That makes me very sad. Although I didn't give that a whole lot of love either, but it just looks like it would be perfect with that. This is probably Timid Tiger, and this, of course, is Petal Pink, and they did a great combination of that. On the back, Muted Mossy Meadow, tone on tone. This one, not my favorite, believe it or not. I am not a pink person, you'll probably notice. I do like the blue. I ended up using the back of it for my fancy fold card. I love this navy tone-on-tone floral pattern. Isn't that so pretty? It almost looks like a reverse. If you were looking at a negative with the old photos, it looks like a negative instead of the actual, and this could be dark flowers, but instead it's picking out the reverse. Okay, the last one to show you is this one. Again, not my favorite, but some pretty pinks and purples. I like the blue. That's probably more like Island Indigo, which is gone, but Shaded Spruce also works very well with that. And of course, the back we have here, what I'm calling Blackberry Bliss. So let's get to the cards, and I'm going to show you what I've done today. I guess first I should show you the stamp set, because the stamp set is wonderful. Look at the stamp set with these flowers, Great sentiments. I love the font of the happy birthday and the thanks and the hey. I'm going to show you the cards now. This is my first card. This was shared with me by Judy, but I chose instead of the what is probably Pretty Peacock or something for the DSP on the back that I showed you. I chose to emboss a little piece, a 3/4 inch piece of Cajun Craze, and then just make these more fall-like. So let's show you how to make it. I've got the card here ready to go. I hope I've got all the pieces. We're going to start with a base of early espresso. Let me make sure I'm in the screen. There we go. I hope you can see me. 4 1/4 by 11 inches here, early espresso. And I just realized one more thing that I need is my scissors and my memento. Okay. Chris always says, check before you go live. Make sure you have everything. And I'm usually pretty sure I've got everything, but I don't. Okay. This here is a piece of the Country Woods DSP. I actually had it in my retired pile. Country Woods is not retired. Country Lace is. So I had to pull it out of my retired pile. And we're just going to attach that to the base here. This is a 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 inch piece of DSP. And I'm going to just glue that directly on here. Just like that. Well, if you do that, if you have a 5 1/2 inch card front, 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, that leaves you a piece that's 2 1/4 inches wide. And that's where we're going to pull out this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful piece of DSP. There's the green on the back, the Pretty Peacock that I could have used. I'm going to attach this to the top, and I'm going to slide that in and meet the fold, the seam here. I do have to tell you though, it doesn't matter if I don't, because what I'm going to do to ensure that it's a nice, neat, seamless combination, I have this little piece of embossed Cajun Craze. If you're going to emboss, I would probably emboss a bigger piece and then cut it down. I actually embossed a piece that was 2 1/4 by 4 1/4 inches. And then you can cut that down to 3 strips of 3/4. You have to know your math a little bit, but the other thing you can do is just do a 4 1/4 by something wide strip and attach that after and cut it down later. 3/4 of an inch is all it needs right here. And I'm going to put that right on the seam, just like that. The next thing I have to do, and let's see if I have it here. I have a basic beige Spotlight on Nature die here. I've already cut it. Let me tell you what the measurement is here. Just so you can, if you wanted to do a punch or if you wanted to do another die, if you don't have the Spotlight on Nature dies, it's actually 2 5/8 inches wide. So the circumference, the diameter is 2 5/8. Circumference is around. This is across. The diameter is 2 5/8. Okay, I'm going to stamp that with some Cajun Craze, and we're just going to say hey. Now, hey could be anything. Hey, what you up to? Hey, haven't seen you for a while. Hey, I've been thinking about you. Whatever you want, we're going to stamp that. And remember, when you're doing this, it's really easy in the foam pads to rock the stamp and get it on the edges. Now, we have right now our red rubber for a little bit longer. That one is especially prone to halos, and halos is where you rock it a little bit. See, you can see right there, I've got it on the edge, and that's a bad thing. That's a bad combination for a card front, because if you rock it, it's going to end up with that halo, and you're going to end up doing what I did, and I'm going to show you in a second what I did. There's my hey. You can do it wherever. I always put my stamps on my blocks pretty straight so that I know where I'm going. Okay, so what I did with this, on the other side is a stamp with a halo. So what I like to do is I will put it back in the die, pretend this is the die. I will line it up with those pieces and put it back in so it actually cuts it, and this makes this the front, if that makes any sense. It only works with some this dies and die cuts that are perfectly symmetrical. The one side is the same as the other side or whatever, but when you can get away with it, I'll show you. I do want to show you. I'll show you when I get to the fourth card. I actually didn't turn it around, and it's a little bit obvious, but I was running out of time. Okay, so here we have this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful image. Don't you just love it? I just love this. And I'm going to show you how I colored it. I'm actually going to, this is what I did. Okay, I have my Stamparatus. Yep, I still have my Stamparatus. I actually have 3 of them. And sometimes it's really perfect for when you want to have the die cuts done ahead of time. And that's what I did here. I've already die cut it. And I'm going to stick my die cut right in there, perfectly already in there. And then what I'm going to do is just ink up this and stamp it. And I can do that over and over again. And what that does for me is out of one piece of paper, I can get a lot more die cuts because I can line them up. I can squish them together. You can't do that when you're stamping. You have to have enough room around the edges. So that's why I sometimes use my Stamparatus, and it'll be all set for class this week. I like to bring my ink pad to my stamp. I just tap it, especially with the felt pad of the Memento, using black Memento because we are going to color this in. So if I did a pretty decent job, and I should have, this should come right out of here, and ta-da, I'm not too bad. Actually, if you look, I'm not bad at all, but if you actually look at this one too, it's the same way. It has a little bit of an edge that I should have cut a little bit closer, but I didn't. Okay, we are going to color this with some blends. What I'm going to use is Timid Tiger. I'm going to use the light. No, I'm going to use the dark. I'm going to use the light shaded spruce. I'm going to use the light old olive. And in case I need to, I'm going to use my color lifter. So the color lifter is going to bring in some areas that are a little bit lighter. And I actually kind of did it backwards because usually the center of the flower, as the blossom opens, it gets lighter as you move out. And I kind of did it backwards. So let's see if we can do a better job this time of it. Okay, let me show you how I'm going to get these two-tone beautiful leaves. Isn't that so pretty? And what you notice, I don't know if you notice or not, and this is my combination. I use shaded spruce and old olive together, and that gives me pretty close to garden green. I'm still hoping if they're going to get rid of the markers that they're going to bring some colors like early espresso, garden green. Garden green needs to have a blend, I'm telling you. In nature, you don't have flowers that are really shaded spruce. You really have them garden green. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to, at the base of my flowers, I'm just kind of around the leaves, I am just going to do my shaded spruce. Just all at the base. I'm just gonna kind of bring it up, and I'm using the side of my blend. I'm not doing the point on because if you do that, you're gonna end up ruining your blends a lot faster. So I'm gonna do it like this. And don't do it even all the way around. I mean, you want some variety. I'm doing it like that. Okay. Just like that. There's a lot of leaves, huh? Yep, there's more. So I'm just doing the base of all of the leaves with the shaded spruce, and the rest is easy because what I'm going to do now is take my light old olive and I'm going to blend it. I'm really primarily going to cover the end of my flowers, but I'm going to blend that edge too. So just like that. And that's how you end up with that color that ends, first of all, the beautiful blues and greens, but also a color that's a little bit closer to garden green. So I'm not bringing it all the way to the end. I could bring it all the way to the end. I'm not bringing it to the bottom of the shaded spruce. I'm leaving some of that shaded spruce as a shaded spruce color. There we go. And this one, this stamp set especially is really good for this, I have to say. because it's kind of whimsical. I mean, it is definitely, when I say whimsical, it's definitely hand-drawn. For the most part, all the points connect and everything, but you can tell it's a drawing. So you can be as free as you want with it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just do that with my leaves. I'm just going to try and concentrate most of my color on the inside. Just like that. If you want this want to come to this card class, this is going to be free with a $40 order. You place a $40. Oh, that's a green leaf. Oh no, no, no! I just colored a green leaf, kind of orange. Let me see if I can cover that up. See what I did there? If you place an order, you will get this class in the mail. If you come to my class this week, you can either pay me so that I can have lunch money, or you can get product besides. What do you think? Not too bad. I'm going to give a little bit more in the center, just like that. And that's good enough. What I'm going to do now is get some, I have here my dimensionals. I'm going to pop up, first of all, this Spotlight on Nature die, and then what I'm going to pop up is I'll show you what I'm going to do with the flower next. So hang on 1 second. Make sure you also get the in the center. You don't want your die cuts to collapse. This is more dimensionals than I usually use, but I do want to make sure it's not going to collapse on me. So okay, so what I'm going to do is put that on here on my card front, kind of like that. Kind of like that. Okay, right there. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is put dimensionals on the points of my leaves, because I want it to be kind of even. So this is what we'll do. We're going to do it like that. So I can put my dimensionals on this leaf, and these two leaves down here. So let me get my mini dimensionals right here, and we're going to put that on these mini leaves right there. I had to check it out, make sure I was doing it on the right one. And then what I'm going to do, okay, it's right here. So I make sure, rather than having 2 layers of dimensionals now, what I'm going to do is layer this around. I'm going to add glue right there, and it's going to lay right nice and snug right on top of my die cut, just like this. Do it just like that. And ta-da, it's all one layer. So this is up even with this, and it works perfectly. Ta-da, right? Okay, here I have, my take your pick on another table again. Okay, I'm going to add some petal pink gems here. Now these gems are the Charming Shimmer Faceted Dots. Because of the, I'm not pulling out the blue, I'm not pulling out the berry, so I'm going to use petal pink, even though I kind of concentrated a little bit more here on the Cajun Craze Timid Tiger orange look. I still think that this is the best. I don't know. I think I'm going to move that down. Oh, now see what I did? I moved it down, but I left my glue dot there. So let's pull that up if I can, because I don't like where that was. Let's see if I can put it in a different spot. There we go. A little bit better. You could put it down here on the bottom. You could put more than 3, but they usually say odd numbers are best. So, ta-da! You know what would make this even prettier? I know what would make it prettier. Let's give it a little wink. Let's wink it. I love Winkastella. Okay, so I want to hear how your weather is. Let me tell you, it is gorgeous here. Today is probably about 65 degrees, a nice little breeze. A little cool for short sleeves, and but it's still just so pretty Such a nice day outside. Oh, I forgot. We have to do the inside. Don't have a naked inside. I always have naked envelopes too, but we're working on that. Let me show you what I did here. So we've got our 2 1/4 inch piece up here. If you cut 3 1/4 and cut, actually that's not true. I don't think this is an inch. I think I did 3/4 of an inch. So this is 2 1/4. So if you cut 3 inches and then cut off 3/4 of an inch, you've got a great border at the bottom for your inside. And then you have to cut off, oh, I kind of forgot. This here is 4 1/4 inches. It's the full length of the card. This one, I cut off 1/4 inch to make it the same width as my card center, my card insert, which of course is 4 by 5 1/4. You guys all know those layers. We're going to put that inside. And you'll have to tell me, what do you think? Do you like it better with the Wink of Stella, or do you like it with just kind of plain? And here's the two of them to compare. I think I like the Wink. You can't see a whole lot of it, but enough. Anything glittery is my favorite, I have to say. I gotta move that. This one is falling off of its glue dot. So here we go. So hey, send this card to somebody. Enjoy this. When you get the, you'll need the stamps if you get this card class in the mail. You'll need the stamps and the dies. I will include die cuts that do not come with a bundle. More than likely, I will also do the die cuts and you'll just have to stamp it, but that's not going to do you any good if you don't have the stamps. So anyway, card number 1, probably my favorite. Gotta say, thank you, Judy, for the idea. Okay, let's go on to card number 2. Card number 2 is another beautiful card. This is card number 2, and when I say beautiful, I mean beautiful. And once again, we're concentrating on those fall colors. But look at this beautiful DSP. Now, this DSP has a couple of different colors. You know, I don't think that this is Peach Pie. Peach Pie is too light. You could probably do, this I think is definitely Timid Tiger. That's probably closer to Berry Burst, and that's the Stampin' Blend that I used, and then of course Petal Pink. So let's have fun with making this card, and I'll show you exactly how I made it. Okay, so first of all, we need our card base. So it's a Mossy Meadow card base, 5.5 by 8.5. When you're cutting your DSP, make sure you're paying attention to orientation. If I was to cut this 4 by 5 1/4 and have the card like this, it looks a kind of bit ridiculous because your stems are going sideways. They could be windblown, but more than likely we have a nice fall day and they should be straight up and down, right? So make sure that it's 5 1/4 inches wide and then 4 inches high, if that makes sense. Okay, so what I'm going to do is attach that to my card base with my green glue. I love green glue. I'm a big fan of green glue. Snail just doesn't work for me, I have to say. Okay, 4 by 5 1/4 inch layer here. And then what I'm going to do is this layer here is 2 inches wide. This is 2 inches by 4 1/4 inches high. It doesn't matter a whole lot which direction your flowers are, because once again, this is the same as that blue that I was showing you. It's kind of the negative, right? But it's really cool. I'm going to put that about a 1/2 inch from the left edge. And this again is one of Judy's card designs, but I changed it up because I decided that I wanted to use this flower because that's the flowers that are here. So she had used a rose and I'm doing it instead with this flower. So, but otherwise, this credit should go to Judy for sure. I just built on it, and it's the most fun to, once you have an idea, to change it up. It's hard to come up with the initial idea, I have to say. Okay, I'm going to glue that, like I said, 1/2 inch from the edge of the DSP on that side. The next thing I'm going to do is stamp my happy birthday. I have a Mossy Meadow base, so I am going to use Mossy Meadow ink, and this is going to be a birthday card. It could be anything else you want it to be, but this time it is going to be a birthday card. And I just realized something else that I need very quickly is a stamp cleaner. Oh, this one will do. All of a sudden I noticed that I still have a dirty stamp that I don't want to make a mess of. Okay, so here we have our Mossy Meadow, and I am going to stamp the happy birthday. And once again, like I said, this is the fun font. Isn't that so pretty? I just love fun fonts like that. What I did when I put this on here, since I don't often use the cling, and I can see that that's not straight now that I look at it, I like to line it up. I kind of eyeball here a straight line of the print and line it up with the top of my block. And that's why I always say, trust the block. And hopefully I have a good eye for a long time, because for the most part, that works really well for me. And what I'm going to do is stamp that, and I'd better stand up for that. I'm going to stamp this on my Stylish Shapes banner, just like that. Not terrible. My H could have been inked up a little bit better, but it's not terrible. Okay, let me put that back in here. I'm going to close this up, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to layer this. And you know what? This one, I think I'm going to put the full banner on. This one, I cut off the edge a little bit, but this one, why not put the full banner on? I think I'm going to try that. Okay, so let me pop that up with some dimensionals. I hope you're enjoying this class. I can't wait to show you my fun fold card at the end. I think I've shown a couple people now. It's a definite favorite of mine right now. I used to have like a box card that was a really fun card. I did the book fold for a while, was hooked on that. Now I am hooked on this, and I don't even know what the name of this is, gotta say. Okay, what I need to do next is these leaves and flowers. So I only have 3 sets of blends here. This time it was more Mossy Meadow, but I'm sticking with the old olive for the most part. Mossy Meadow I think would get a little dark. So I have here Timid Tiger, I have Petal Pink, and I have Berry Burst. And I have here 3 sets of flowers already cut that I'm going to color very quickly. And I have 1 die cut just to give a little bit of interest here. We have a gold die cut. And now I have to tell you, I lucked out. I found a piece of this in my cabinet. And this has the adhesive paper on the back. I'm going to show you it's not impossible to attach without the adhesive paper. But because I have it, yay, right? So we're going to just attach that down, just like that. Beautiful, so that's ready to go. Let's color our flowers. What I'm going to do, instead of the shaded spruce on these leaves, I'm going to use the dark old olive. So I'm just going to bring that to on the bottom of all of these leaves. And yes, there are a bunch of them, but that's okay. We've got a minute. I charged my phone at least to 70%, so I'm not going to run out anytime soon. And I love spending time with you. I remember when I first did my Facebook Live. I don't know if any of you remember. My first one, I did sideways. The next one, no, first one I did upside down. Then I got a little bit better and I did sideways. My third one, and for all I know, I'm sideways or upside down right now. But you know what? You get the idea. But the next one I did sideways, thinking if I can do it stamp from the side like this, you can at least kind of see. And then since then, I've kind of figured out a couple of tricks. So it's not quite so bad. But I remember my heart beating so fast, so loud, I could hear it while I was stamping. And I also had cue cards across from me so that I wouldn't forget to say anything. I still lost my place and I still got all bungled up. But now I just kind of go with it. So if it doesn't turn out, I'm human and you guys all know it, and I love spending time with you. And who knew that I would love to talk as much as I do? Okay, here's the end of that. Oh yes, we got one more thing of leaves. Isn't that so pretty, doing a little bit of the, I could have followed the vein and made it look much more, I don't know, perfect. But who wants perfect? We're just having fun here. And I really like that with the two-tone. Okay, so that was the dark old olive at the base, and at the tips of those leaves was light old olive. I'm going to do one here, one flower with, this is the dark berry burst. And we're going to color the rest of the flower with light, just like that. And I may lighten it a little. See, I don't use this blend very much, so it is kind of coloring perfectly, if that makes sense. And I don't want it to be quite as perfect as it is. You can tell that I don't use berry burst very often. Okay, so that's one. Okay, now this flower here, I'm going to do with petal pink on the flower leaves. I'm going to do that on the outside, just like that. I tend to use petal pink quite a bit. For my flesh, I like to, you know, like a person's flesh, I like to do light petal pink. And then, of course, the cheeks always have to have a little bit of flirty flamingo. Okay, so that was my petal pink. Now we're going to do the Timid Tiger. So this is the light Timid Tiger. And I'm going to, this one hasn't gotten a lot of use either. It's another perfect coloring. I can feel, it just feels, the tip feels stiffer, if that makes sense. It's not really rolling so that I can do it from the side, but you're much better coloring from the side than straight on. Okay, so here we go. That's that. And with my center of my petal pink, I'm going to color that Timid Tiger. Okay, so there we have that. Do I want to remove any color? I think I'm going to remove a tiny bit of the Timid Tiger. So just to lighten it up a little bit, because that's pretty. And you know what? Maybe I'll do that with the berry burst too. You'll see as I do this, my color is going to lift a little bit. You can see where I colored, you can see the spots of white, but it's not quite so stark. Okay, so now we have to build this. What I'm going to do is put 2 dimensionals on each one. I'm going to put it by the leaves and in the center of the flower. And who knows where everything is going to go. Everything is going to be a little bit different. This one is going to go down here. I'm going to put this one down here this time. So we got my center of my flower, I'm putting one, and then I'm putting another one down by the trio of leaves there. And I'm going to flip that and maybe even tuck it a little bit under my, see how I tucked it under? So by only putting 2 dimensionals on, I can kind of control, it's not so stuck down that there's no place to put this. My third one, I guess I'm going to go right here. I think it kind of doesn't, it might have looked better at the bottom, I'm thinking, because there's really nothing berry burst there now that I think about it, but that's okay. We're just going to go like that, just like that. And you know what? Okay, I got to turn that because I don't want to cover up all, well, I guess it is what it is. I didn't want to cover up all of my gold. Make sure that you see some of the gold. It's really pretty. And of course, let's do another bit of wink on our berry burst, and maybe that'll, yeah, let's wink them all. There we go. So it's not much, but it's a little bit. What I'm going to do is pull out the berry burst on this rather than the petal pink. I think the petal pink is going to get lost in it. And I've got a berry burst flower, so we can do this. I like to use the tip that has the putty. Let's put one up there. I'm going to do one more big one, and let's do that. I'm going to do just like I did on the other card. One down there, and then I'll do another little one up top here. Just like that. What do you think? So there we go with that. And we've got 2 cards done. I do have to stamp the inside. And did I give myself a basic white layer for the inside? Let me show you what I did on this one, and then I will, I'm going to show you because I want to show you what I did. I go to Staples and I have all of these layers cut down for me to 4 by 5 1/4. So all I have to do is go to my box and grab my layer. Let's get some scrap paper here because I don't want to do this directly onto my glass mat because it'll make a mess. Okay. Oh, look at that. Don't look at that. Okay, I wanted to show you what I did, and it worked out fine, believe it or not. And that was quite the accident I have to show you. So when I did this, I stamped, where's my Mossy Meadow? Right here. I'm going to use the same flowers as I already, and like I said, I die cut this already. With the magic of television, we had already die cut all this stuff because you guys know how to die cut. And one of these times I'll actually show you the process, but today, not the day. So what I wanted to do is, I'm trying to think of how I did it so that it actually shows up. Okay, this is what I did. So I stamped here, Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to just stamp it randomly in the corner. Don't make it so perfect necessarily. I like it when it's stamped off a little bit. But look at this. So my card here, I stamped it up and down, right? But my card is landscape, not portrait. But luckily I can just flip this just like this and glue it down here instead. So make it, if you're going to do something on the inside, make it so that it can go either direction is my tip of the day on that card. Okay, I could stamp one in each corner, but we're not going to. You have to have room to write a message too. So there we go. Card number 2, just like that. Okay, let me show you now card number 3. This is card number 3. And this is the Blackberry Bliss that I was talking about. Isn't that so pretty? And this card, it's missing something. Something came off right there. Oh, I know. This is another thing that doesn't get a whole lot of love in my stamp room. This faux velvet ribbon. And I kind of thought it kind of matches. It's kind of the purples, you know? It kind of works. Maybe, maybe not. What was I gonna, oh yes, another card. I was gonna show you with another technique, but it's on my other card class, my sunflowers, that I'm gonna do another time. Okay, so here we have this card, and I'm going to show you how I made it. We're gonna use Blackberry Bliss ink. I have die cuts already done. So this piece is 1 3/4 inches wide by 1 inch high. And all I'm going to do with that is stamp my thanks for being you. And that's kind of all the stamping except for the layer on the inside. Guess what? I just found my other white. Nope, I didn't. Nope, don't pay any attention. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this, and boy, this is a dirty block. I'll have to clean this. It must have gotten some adhesive remover on there or something. There must have been something sticky. I used adhesive remover and not a lot of alcohol, so it's hard to see. But it doesn't matter because what I'm going to do is generally see what I'm doing, and I'm going to line up the block with my piece of paper. And it doesn't look necessarily like it's straight, but voila, there we go. Okay, I got lucky, by the way. I had a halo on my ink. This is a very, very wet ink because, like I said, it doesn't get a lot of attention in my stamp room. I am going to stamp something more on the inside, but we don't need that right now. Okay, I have here a piece of basic white. Now, this basic white is 3.5 inches minus a sliver, 3.5 inches wide by 4 3/4 inches high. And we are going to cut 3 pieces of DSP, and I've done that already. When Judy did these cards, and I'm not sure if she did it with Monica or not, but when she did one strip this, and then she used that color and did more berry burst. But I'm thinking fall and a color that I don't use very much. So anyway, this is Blackberry Bliss, and this is the tone-on-tone monochromatic piece. I'm going to attach that to my left side, evenly, top, bottom, and from the left side. There we go. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my next piece. So this is 1 1/4 inches wide by 4 1/2 inches high. This is 1, and this is 3/4 inches. So we've got 1 1/4, 1 3/4. And like I said, it's on 3 1/2 inches minus a sliver, because I found that by doing it evenly top, bottom, and left, if I did it on the right, it was just there was a little bit more white, or there was more white here. So that's why I'm going to attach this one. Normally, if I have a layer and I'm attaching things so that they're even, the next one I would do would be on this side so that I could do this in the middle. But I'm going to leave this in case I need to cut off a sliver. Does that make any sense? Okay, so let's glue this on. And if you haven't noticed, I can't respond to your comments because I can't multitask. I can't do 2 things at all. There we go. So I'm going to respond to each of your individual comments later. And I promise I will respond too. This is my 3/4 inch. And I guess that one maybe I shouldn't have cut off as much as I did, because it looks like it's a little bit narrower here on the right side. But anyway, so start with 3 1/2 inches and then cut off your sliver after you've attached all 3 of your panels. 1 1/4 inches, 1 3/4 inches, and they're all 4 1/2 inches high on a piece of basic white, 3 1/2 inches by 4 3/4. Okay, now I'm going to attach this onto my Blackberry Bliss card base. 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, of course, scored at 4 1/4 inches, the normal card. I'm going to tell you my last one has some special scoring, and I'll do that in front of you so that you understand. And you're going to love this card, I think. I hope so. Did you see how I just kind of slid that in there? There's a little bit of excess ink right there. That wasn't the best idea. At least it's not Blackberry Bliss ink that I just rubbed off. Okay, what I'm going to do next is attach my label. You could do a die cut if you wanted to, but you can just as easily do it this way. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I don't know. Let's do it a little bit higher on this one. Okay, and then I have here hopefully I have 2 stems that are cut out of pecan pie, because I think that's pecan pie. You know what other color would have worked really well with this, but we don't have it anymore, is wild wheat. But this is definitely more pecan pie. So what I'm going to do, this one lost a little tip. It must have slid when I was die cutting it today. I'm just adding a dot of glue to each individual leaf. And we're going to do that up here, just like that. And repeat it with the second one and do it off to the side. We want it to show off the edge of the DSP panels, I think. That's what I like. Just like that. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, I've die cut 2 flowers. So this one is just die cut. So I've got my pecan pie, and now I have a berry burst and a Blackberry Bliss center. And you know what? I see here, this one has a couple of pieces in there that should have been removed. So let me try to get them out. Now my hands are sticky too, and if I had a paper piercer or you know what we're going to do? Let's use take your pick tool. The other side of this has a point. It doesn't work for the dies sometimes because it's a little bit thicker than the dies, but this should work for our die cuts to poke them out. You know how they say don't poke the bear? Oh, let me tell you about the bears. I forgot about that. Up in Alaska, there's Katmai National Park, and I have been watching the bears catch the salmon. It's a national park, and these bears catch the salmon because they're at the top of this little waterfall. The bears are just sitting there. They're at the bottom too, but they sit at the top. And these salmon are insisting on swimming upstream. So what they do is they jump up the waterfall. And what do you think is waiting for them at the top but these bears? So when I'm saying don't poke the bear, it reminded me of this. Totally. These bears are sitting at the top waiting for the salmon, and it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They don't even have to move. The salmon jumps right into their mouth. And I saw one the other day that not only caught one with its mouth, but with its paw, it got a second one, and it had two going at the same time. Seriously. Isn't that crazy? But it's so much fun to watch. So I have it on, not here at home, but I have it at work. And I have to tell you, I'm constantly having people stop by my desk to check out the bears. And it's brown bears and grizzlies living together for the most part in harmony. There is one bear that has its mouth ripped up a little bit, and I think it might have and it has a paw across its nose. So it must have also gotten in a fight. But so they're not all in harmony, but for the most part, and that one stays off to the side. I think he learned his lesson. Do you see here, there's kind of three places I think where I can add these mini glue dots or mini dimensionals, and they're not going to show up. So I've got my second one right here. So I've got it at the edge there. I got it there. And then I'm kind of thinking right there, I can add one as well, and it's not going to show. So we're going to do that right there. And I'm going to add that down here, just like that. And we're going to do the same thing with our Blackberry Bliss one, where I poked the bear, poked out all the little pieces, all the little chads, right on the edge there. You can kind of figure out where it is. I can't tell you exactly, but it is obvious that that spot, and I think that spot all work well to hide the dimensionals and not make them obvious. If there does show a little bit, you could always take your Blackberry Bliss blend and kind of color the dimensional a little bit, and then it won't be as obvious. But these kind of hide really well, and you can't see them at all. I'm going to put that up here, just like that, just like that. And ta-da, that's our card. I don't like that they're right on top of each other, but it is what it is, because I don't think I don't want to rip this to try and... They're kind of right on top of each other. Let's use our take your pick tool again. Oh, I'm going to put this back so that I don't poke myself, because I'm dangerous with points. I'm going to take the berry burst ones again, and that's going to pull out the berry burst from the flowers and my die cut. So I'll put one there. I'm going to put one down there, and I'm going to put another little one up top. And I don't know where they belong. I didn't go to school for art. I'm just doing the best I can. So if you have a better idea of where they should go, that's up to you. This one I put the fresh freesia just to hide the edge of the label. I thought it was a little bit too harsh. This one I don't feel like it needs it, so I'm not even going to add the ribbon, but it's going to be up to you. I'll add the ribbon to your card pack if you place an order. And then you can choose to add it or not. The one thing I don't like about this faux ribbon, I shouldn't complain on camera, but it is one-sided. So you have to make sure that when you tie your knot, somehow it always ends up with the velvet on the one side, which I struggle with, to be honest. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I did here. Once again, I need my scrap paper, and I'm going to do the same flower again. I'm going to stamp it in Blackberry Bliss in the corner. Let's just do that carefully without making too big. Look at how inked up that is. Yikes. Just like that. And ta-da, that card will be done as soon as I glue that in. Let me close that ink up before I get it all over my hands, because can you see it? Can you see it? I definitely can. Let me just attach that to the inside. Are you proud of me? I'm adding inserts to all of my cards and turning over a new leaf for the new school year. I'll put that there, attach that there, and ta-da, the cards are done, just like that. I hope you love that one. Okay, we are on to card number 4, and I've been talking this up, so hopefully you love this as much as I do. This one, I'm going to show you how I scored it and how I made the card. This is a fancy fold card. Moving my mess. So yes, it's a fancy cut because you've got your cut here, and I leave 1 inch off. So it's 7.5 inches wide by 5.5 inches tall. So it's the same standard card base on the back, but on the front I cut off 1 inch. But let me show you what I did here. So first of all, let me take out my pieces and then you'll understand. I have here a card. So it's 7.5 inches wide, I said. I'm going to make my first score line at 3¼ inches. Normally it would be 4¼ inches, but we lost our inch here. So it's 3¼ inches. And then I do another score line at 6.5. And why did I do that? Oh, by the way, this is my die cut that I had to stamp on the back because I did such a horrible job on the front. I should have put it back through again. It was that bad. But anyway, this is what we do. I'm putting the adhesive on this side. I did a score line here, and this is how this card works. You flip it open like that, and ta-da, the card stays closed because you've got your little die cut here with the adhesive, but by folding this back, the score line just like that, you can open the card. And that's the only way to open the card. It won't, you don't want to, you know, go to all lengths like that to try to open the card. You've got this score line for a reason. So let me show you how that works. I have here, I've actually made the score lines already, but I'm going to do it for you again so that it makes sense. I have here my 7.5 inch wide piece of Night of Navy, 5.5 by 7.5. Remember, normally 8.5, I cut off 1 inch. So I made my first score line at 3¼ inches. And you know, I just realized, yes, I realized I scored it wrong. I didn't score it with the wrong measurements. I just scored it wrong. And I'll explain that as I score here. So I'm doing my first score line at 3¼ inches. My next one is going to be at 6.5 inches, 1 inch from the edge of your paper, and I scored it on the other side. I flipped it and scored it, but you actually need to score it. Remember, when we're folding, you're folding so that the bump is on the inside. This one is the same way. So we're going to score it like, let me move this out of the way. I scored it at 3¼ inches, and I've got my bone folder to burnish that score line. And then I'm going to be able to fold this back like that. So I have to do both of the score lines in the same direction. So they both have to be mountain score lines. Did I do that right? Yes, they're both mountain score lines. Okay, so now I have a piece of DSP here. This beautiful DSP. I love this DSP. One of my favorites. I just love blue. Blue is one of my favorite colors, besides yellow. I mean, if I could wear yellow every day of the year, I probably would. But blue is my favorite color to look at, besides yellow. Okay. Oh, that reminds me. So when I was up in Kennebunk this weekend for Celine's retreat, I went to Celine's retreat this weekend, had a great time. I won bingo. We played 3 games of bingo, and I won 2 of the 3, and I almost won the 3rd game. That's how close I was. I had bought, with the bingo class, I got 1 set of cards, and when Celine does bingo, she does it with 3 playing cards. They're stapled together, and you're actually pulling cards rather than rolling numbers. Does that make sense? So you have to get all 3 cards of the right suit covered up. And I bought an extra card for $5. 1 extra card for $5. And with that, the first one, I won on the first set of cards. I got all 3 numbers. And 2/3 of the way through her calling the cards, I didn't have anything. And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 they all came. And then on the next game, I got the second set. And what we do is when you've got 2 of the 3 cards called, you stand up. Well, I was standing for 1 set of cards, then I was standing for the other set of cards. And the next number on either of them would have won bingo. I didn't win bingo. I'm glad, because it would have looked rigged if I had. Would have looked like I set it up, but I didn't. We did another game too where she had a big fuzzy die, and she threw the die, and you had to guess what number was going to be. You held up the number of fingers, and I didn't win the first one, but I won the second one, and I'm like, I'm incredibly lucky. Can't help it. Anyway, let's talk about this card again instead of my bingo winnings. So I have a piece of DSP here, 3 inches by 5 1/4 inches, because this is 3 1/4 inches wide. Remember, I did my first score mark at 3 1/4 inches. I have here a 1 inch score line. So this is a 3/4 inch strip of DSP. Okay, so it's a different pattern. I didn't show you the back of it, but it's a different pattern than the back of this. I could have done the back of this, which would have been Timid Tiger, but we've already done enough orange cards. I wanted to do some blue. Okay, now what I'm going to do, this is just like on, where's my card here? Just like on this card, we've got this die cut with the gold foil. I'm using the same die cut. It's a big, long die cut. It's one of the die cuts from the suite, from the bundle. I did one in Night of Navy. And this one I actually did, speaking of, this is from the back of this DSP. I did it with the orange color to kind of bring them both together. Does that make sense? And I didn't put adhesive on here, or adhesive sheet. So we're going to have to glue the leaves. But you know what? It's going to be fine. It's going to be absolutely fine, because these are pretty big leaves. We're just going to do a dot of glue on just about all of the big leaves. Just like that. You don't have to do all of the leaves, but if you do primarily the big ones, you should be in good shape. And what I'm going to do is put that here on the front. I like to use the bottom of my glue to tap that down. And we're going to repeat that again with the cardstock, with our Night of Navy cardstock. See how I'm just putting little dots of glue? It doesn't need a lot. Not going to go anywhere. And we're going to attach that here. And I'm kind of doing it over the edge, but kind of not, because I don't want it to stick to this layer, because we have to be able to open the card. Okay, now I have here, I think this is the Nested Essentials die. This is probably the very smallest one. And what I'm going to do is stamp, hopefully perfectly, this that says, "You made my day." I could do a nice, I'm trying to put this on here so that it looks like it's straight, because I think that was my problem when I did the die of the stamping the last time. Okay, I'm going to tap it. Make sure you don't have too much ink. It is kind of muddied, but I'm going to go straight down. And we are going to stamp right there. Not bad. Okay, I'm happy with that. It's straight. And yes, I have room. This is not a very big sentiment, just saying. But so what we're going to do is take our scrap again, and this stamp is leaves, and that's very similar to the theme of this. So I'm just going to stamp leaves. Oh boy, maybe we have to do that again. Oh well, you know what? Let me try and do a stamp down here. See everything? There we go. There we go. Did you see that I actually almost made a little halo here? You can see that here. And what do they say for the halos? I actually made marks at the bottom too. So I just kind of moved my stamp and kind of stamped on the edge. It's not clear that it's leaves, but it's clear that it's not a flower. So there we go. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do real quick with that. We are going to first attach it to our card base. And remember, I'm saying I want it to open as a fancy fold card. So I'm going to flip this over and put my thumb over this part because I know that's not the side, that's the side that I don't want any adhesive on. So if you need to draw a pencil mark, just remember. So I'm just going to put 2 dimensionals on here, top and bottom, just like that. And then what I'm going to do is attach it. I'm kind of overlapping the stems a little bit. I'm doing it towards the bottom of my card, just like that. Just like that. And then you can open it like that. Okay, I forgot one thing. We have to stamp our inside. So let's stamp our inside. This is, again, 3 inches by 5 1/4 inches, same as the DSP. And what I'm going to do is find my Night of Navy ink right here. And I wanted to use all the stamps from this stamp set. You Made My Day is what I did on the front. And I feel like Can't Wait to See You Again Soon works. I could have said, hey, again. Can't wait to see you again soon. But I'm using all of the stamps. Can't Wait to See You Again Soon is what I'm going to stamp on my inside. So, can't wait. I'm trying to, can't wait to, okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to stamp it here, hope for the best is straight, let it sit there for a second, ta-da, not bad. Once in a while I amaze myself, mostly because I took the time to line up the top of my stamp with the top of my block, so that not the top of the stamp, that I tried to make the print even with the top of the block. That way, if Stampin' Up! Cuts this irregularly, and there are some stamp sets where it's really poorly cut, and oh, I'm not done yet. I at least have stamped as to the best of my ability. And I'm going to use these leaves again, the ones from the front, and I'm going to stamp like that. Oh, another one. Oh well. I don't know what to do with that, except I do have an ink eraser. I could have, if I had it right here, I could remove it right away, but one of those sand erasers. But I'm going to glue this inside because everybody loves a handmade card. So if it was perfect, they think, oh, is this Hallmark? Nope, I'm just Hallmark's biggest competition. If I actually sent the cards, that is. And that's my New Year's resolution as well. My new Stampin' New School Year resolution is to send these cards out. See how it overlaps, the leaves overlap here, but when I close the card, it doesn't. Okay, so we see this big blooper here. Opportunities for embellishment is what everybody says, and this one is no different. I'm going to use one of the Night of Navy gems, and you're not even going to know that I totally messed that up. We'll put one down there, and maybe I will put one up here. Really spread them out. I probably would have put another one up there rather than there. Well, who says we can't do 5? Let's do that. Let's do one over here, and we'll do one more small one up here. Okay. kind of going to town, but if you do odd numbers, it's supposed to be more appealing to the eye. Yeah, is there a triangle? I didn't go to art school, so I don't know where the triangle is. But anyway, you get the picture. I hope you love this card. Isn't that so fun? So 3 1/4 inches and 6.5 on a 7.5 inch wide piece. And make sure your tag is attached to the right side so that you can make it a fancy fold. Otherwise, it's just a regular, just a fancy cut, right? So here we go. We've got our cards. We've got that. After I actually have my card class, I'm just putting all the cards here. There's my, I'm going to send this to somebody that leaves a comment. So whether it's YouTube or Facebook, I want to hear comments. Oh, here's my last one. There's my last card. Tell me your favorite card. Tell me where you're from. Tell me that you love me, and I will send a set of cards to you. I hope you have a wonderful day. Let me flip this back before you see the other side of my room that's so messy. And I'm going to say, I love you guys, and I love talking. Have a great rest of the week. Tomorrow I don't have anything planned. Next week, I'm not sure what I'm doing. My stamping retreat is Saturday the 20th. So I think that I am not working next Monday, but I'm not positive. I will share something with you, that's for sure. Thank you to everybody that signed up for retreat. You're going to have a great time. I've got 24 lovely ladies coming, and we are going to have the best time ever. I will talk to you soon. Have a great night. Bye.